Welcome back, everyone. I wanted to make this post because I've been running a series of tests, and I'm going to share one of them with you. I made this post a little while ago. I said, me after running 4 different tests for Doge price action, and they all say more rocket to come. So I thought that was pretty funny to share. But it's true. I've been running a series of tests, and they all say that they're all indicating that we're right on the cusp of another leg up. And I'm going to share one of them with you right now. If you don't know from by the title, that is the Doge Bitcoin comparison here. So in my earlier video, I mentioned that we are on the cusp of the breakout at around 18 cent, right? And I'll do a brief recap here, just in case this is the first video of mine you're seeing. So this would indicate our next leg up. These are all gaps over here from, even if you want to go back to August of 2021, these are all gap territories that would all send us into, at the very least, the early 2020s, right? Excuse me, the early 20 cent range, right? The lower 20 cent range. We would need to close around 18 cents to do that, right? So if we go to the Doge BTC chart, and it's kind of just get some confirmation here, make sure that it's just not all hopium and that we're not crazy. We can see very similar price action here as far as where we are now, right? Because we know that this is the peak of where we are now. So this would be around the 18 cent mark. And if you take a look here, we're looking here, gaps. And even here where we were, this ceiling, excuse me, you can't see where I'm pointing, but this seeming to be like this ceiling here that where we're kind of bumped our heads before was also the floor so many times over here back in 2022. Even as far back as like March, and we can go back and see some of the rejections here. I mean, even in this is December 2021. Look at that rejection here, and of course, all of these these are very strong gaps, right? That would send us, as I said, at least into the very beginnings of the 20 cent range here, and possibly into the mid 20s. The only thing I can't say right now is because of the strength of this movement is whether or not we would actually get that slowdown between 22 and 25 cent. And I mentioned that in my last video, we were supposed to get one at around 12 cent, and we did not. It completely shredded that. And if the current trend is anything that is like an indication of the future, we're possibly going to see some more of that somewhere anyway, because we just kind of doing a recap here. This is all long back in. Yeah, we had 9 on this trend here. We had 9 green days and 1 red day. So 9 out of 10. We went on a 9 and 1 run of higher highs. So, and again, since 2021, that has not happened. So I am very optimistic about this run and love to see if that explosiveness is going to kind of continue, because we haven't even gotten into like max FOMO yet. The bull market isn't even rolling good yet. So we'll kind of see where, if there's going to be a consolidation point sometime between now and when the bull run is like fully engaged, or if we're just going to kind of trot along and do like this higher high. Because right now, between this and market capitalization coming in, I think we reached like $7 billion in transactions in one day, just some historic runs. I think this is going to be really, really indicative of what is to come. And if we're looking, let's do another thing here. Let's just compare it to the consolidation of the overall market by using good old Bitcoin here. You'll see that Bitcoin is doing something very similar. We had a few days kind of building our support, and then we had a run, and then it's just trending to the upside, and you see Doge kind of taking on this effect. If we wanted to look at it like this, that's the current trend, right? Remember, it's not about the wicks, it's about where the candle closes. So this trend is still valid. So this is kind of what's happening here. We had about 3 or 4 days sideways action, and then we're seeing that break to the upside. So not necessarily a long period of sideways, like going sideways like this, like a trending along the 14 day, but we had enough here to kind of establish at least some type of agreement here in the markets, where if it needed to grab liquidity, it in fact would from this range, and hopefully maintain its current spot. So if you take a look here at Doge, you'll see something very similar happening here. So we have our 3 or 4 days here. We have the bigger candles here in the middle, so very similar. And it looks like we're breaking out here and having that trend to the upside. Now, obviously, we'll see, but it could look something like this from here, right? No, so then I gave you all the scenarios. Let's go back and watch the videos from the last few days. Like if we weren't to hold the 15 range, this would still be that trend line here. And you can grab liquidity from anywhere in here and do the kind of like that ping pong, having an apex somewhere in around April. Or we can have the sideways movement going here, building out the floor, which is absolutely fine. I have no objections to that. And then, of course, if we're doing the gradual acceleration here, this will be the current trend here. But this here is not confirmed. That's just kind of my theory based off of what I'm seeing in the market. If we get a couple more days of that, then I'll put it back. But as of right now, I'm not going to just insert it. We can take a look here at Ethereum. Ethereum is on doing its own thing on its highway to heaven. This is a primary example of why I would be careful with something like Ethereum, because I don't know, you can't even really chart this. This is just such an aggressive angle going up here on the daily. You have to do this on a smaller time frame more than likely, but this is something where you may get into trouble if you don't have a floor built out soon. You're going to see a sell-off here. Maybe you can kind of recoup somewhere here around 3,400, but when you start having these runs like this is kind of what scares me, because you're saying, oh, where's the footing? So maybe you can have something here, 2,900, maybe 34, but eventually the run gets exhausted and you have to say, okay, well, where are we going to rest when our legs get tired from all this running? And that will be a question to be determined for my Ethereum investors. I do hold Ethereum as well. It's not one of my, like my third or fourth highest held coin, but long term, we're just kind of putting it out there for those looking to do entries or trading. Just kind of keep that in mind. I'm sure it probably looks different on a smaller time frame. Maybe you can do like a 4 hour or something and get some good entries. But overall, these higher highs is going to put you in a position, because these, even though the candles are small, it's still doing the current trend here. So it's not necessarily clear where that liquidity would come from. We got some that kind of projected here off the 14, but even now, as it's outpacing the 14 so greatly, we're still looking at around a $500 drop before it even got there. So, but if you can catch it $500 off, it's a good deal. And I think that was kind of negotiated here when it dropped down to the 14, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll buy. And it kind of pushed up, still closed down, but that's still a pretty good push up, letting you know the current trend is still strong. So great news there on Ethereum. So it's all coming together here for Doge and overall markets. A lot of the charts are indicating the same thing. There's been several tests that I've done, whether it's with indexes or Doge BTC, and they're all saying we're right there on the cusp of where we need to close before we go to that next gap up. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully you found value and are able to use that into your strategies, whether that be for your entries, exits, or if you're just watching off of the sidelines. So I hope that provided some form of value for you. So with that being said, if you did find value, like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're hitting 100K this year. I would love for you to be in that number, and I will see you guys in the next update.